Good morning, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and you're listening to Coffee with Kris, the time of the day where we share a cup of coffee and share a bit of the Word of God. Thank you so much for joining me on this Monday morning for a hot cup of coffee and a hot cup of the Word of God. We are in the Torah portion of Shemot, which means names, and it's taken from Exodus chapter 1, verse 1, all the way to chapter 6, verse 1. Today's Sidra is chapter 1, verses 15, chapter 1, verses 15 through chapter 2, verse 10. But let's read chapter 1, verses 15 through 17. It says, "Moreover, the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives. One of them's name was Sifra, the other Puah, and said, when you help the Hebrew women during childbirth, look at the sex, look at the gender. If it is a son, then kill him. If it is a daughter, she may live. Yet the midwives feared God, so they did not do as the king of Egypt commanded, but let the boys live." God takes precedence over state. The midwives were more fearful of God and would rather bow to God than to bow to Pharaoh. Proverbs 29:25 says, "Fear of man is a snare, but whoever trusts the Lord will be kept safe." Now, we experienced this within the last 3 years when religious gatherings were prohibited from singing in the congregations, at least they were in Canada. You know what? That was a dictation of how and how not to worship. The state has no business in dealings with the religious practice. Basically, when you say you can't sing, you're saying that this is how you can and can't worship your God. That doesn't fly. I would rather bow to Messiah than bow to the state in this instance. And thankfully, many churches did, but sadly, way more churches were too fearful, and they did not sing. So, God over state, the midwives over Pharaoh, Daniel over the king. You remember when, Daniel, there was a law that Daniel could not pray to God. He had to pray for the next month to the king. Daniel said, "Nothing doing. I ain't changing a thing, and I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not ashamed." He opened up his doors, and 3 times a day he prayed towards the east, towards Jerusalem. He got caught, and he got thrown in the lion's den. He knew the price. He knew he was likely going to die, but the Lord miraculously kept him from the lion's den because he bowed to God, and he did not bow to the king in this instance of this unjust law. Same with the 3 Hebrew children, Daniel's friends. There was a big stupid mountain of gold, a big statue that the king wanted everybody to worship. 3 Hebrews said, "Nothing doing." And they were thrown into the fiery furnace. They said, "You know what? Our God is able to save us, but even if he doesn't, we're still not going to bow and worship your stupid mountain of gold." They were thrown in the furnace. They knew they were going to die, but miraculously, the Lord spared them. Now, think of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. The same story over and over and over. Are you going to bow to the state? Are you going to bow to the evil? Or are you going to bow to God? Are you going to submit to him? Are you going to fear man? Or are you going to fear God? Which is it? With what the powers that be has already pulled and will pull, we need to stand like the midwives, no matter what the consequences. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom and God bless.